Hey guys, RuffmanFan882 here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Girl Meets World and Fuller House and comparing them. Both of these shows have their differences, but are great in their own way, and have their disadvantages and advantages. Girl Meets World is one of my favorite Disney Channel shows, and I will say, this show is very good. It was spun off from ABC's Boy Meets World, and that show is good as well. Disney's Girl Meets World started development back in 2012, but as a totally different idea. Disney originally wanted a show about a boy who went through real life, and Michael Jacobs was put in charge of creating this show. After a pitch meeting with Disney Channel development executive Corey Marsh, they went out to lunch and began talking about Boy Meets World, which he is a big fan of, and which led into asking Michael about doing Boy Meets World again. He said no, but thought of a second what Corey and Topanga would be doing, and he offered up Girl Meets World. The show then took off, and it was put into action. The goal of Girl Meets World was to bring in a new audience and not focus on the old characters from Boy Meets World. They brought in the characters from the old show as they needed them, and I loved the way they did. I agree. I needed to see the characters from Boy Meets World, but I didn't need to see them every second. Having them appear or having references from time to time was plenty for me, and it wasn't so rushed with nostalgia like what I'm going to talk about with Fuller House. Now, I know a lot of people complain about Topanga's plots, but I will say there's not really a lot to do with her. There could be more, but her being a lawyer does have a lot to do with it, because that is pretty boring, and I do agree with Michael. Showing a lawyer in action or at work is pretty dull, but I'm glad they have the bakery, and her with Ava and Augie is perfect with me, and that's plenty with Topanga. I will say the first season was a bit cheesy, and so were both parts of the second season as well. However, looking back at Boy Meets World, I can say the first few seasons were cheesy as well, but started to improve midway into its second season like Girl Meets World is doing. The shows are different and made for two different generations, but overall, the show is doing a great job, especially being on the Disney Channel. During Girl Meets World, third season, the topics are getting more serious and the tone of the show is starting to change. Maya is also going to be getting arrested this season for vandalism, and this is something you would never see on a Disney Channel show, and Disney is definitely allowing them to expand their horizons and even testing out the limits. And so far I haven't heard any parents complain about the show, which is a good thing of the topics they are complaining about. So maybe Girl Meets World does have hope to go through more mature topics. Overall, the show is improving and building up to where it needs to be, and I can't wait to see what else is in store and how else the show will grow in future seasons. Now, let's look at Fuller House. I always loved Full House, and when I heard they were coming out with Fuller House, I was like, awesome. But when I heard the pilot, I was like, okay, why are they doing the same thing with Full House? The pilot was the same, but just flopped. Full House, 3 men raising 3 daughters. Now Fuller House, 3 women raising 3 boys, and Kimmy having a daughter of her own. Well, a little bit different, but I will say, after I watched it, it was somewhat a good idea, and I do love this show as well. The creator, Jeff Franklin and John Stamos, had this idea for several years, but the networks didn't want to do the show as a sitcom, as it wasn't popular, and the fans wouldn't want to see something back from the 90s. But the networks were wrong. Once Girl Meets World finished its first season, Netflix decided to give the show a try, and fans went insane. And when they announced they were doing the show, they went even more insane. After I knew Fuller House was going into a different direction, I was excited for the show. I did watch the show over several days instead of one day. And unlike Girl Meets World, Fuller House had a different goal, they wanted to do the show for older fans, since it never had a finale episode, but also make the show for the new generation. I will say, the show did have everything for me, and it was great. I love seeing the old characters in a new and exciting way, but I will say there was just too much nostalgia for me. I liked to see it spread out over time, but instead they rushed it. I understand that is what they wanted to do for the first episode, but I think they should have spread it out more. And it was like every episode they had something to flash back to Fuller House. It was just way too much. And I like how Girl Meets World did it. I love the storylines they did, but would have liked to see more with the kids instead of the adults. It seemed like DJ, Stephanie, and Kimmy got a lot of the airtime, and I would have loved to see more interaction with the boys and see what other mischief they got into. But what they did cover was done well, but always seemed to be quick and brief, unlike Full House, where they talked about the issue. Well, it's only its first season, so there's more room to improve. My biggest issue with the show is on Netflix, which means we only get 13 episodes each season, and it will only air once a year. Now, with season 2, which was picked up like 3 days after the first season aired, we may be getting it earlier, and 10 months instead of a year-long wait like other Netflix shows. I would like to see more than 13 episodes so we could enjoy more of our favorite characters and see more story development instead of waiting. I just hope they decide to order 22 episodes one day like a normal show would run, or have 2 to 3 seasons each year. We don't have to deal with this for Girl Meets World, as the Disney Channel orders around 21 to 30 episodes for their season. Season 3, by the looks of it, will have 21 episodes, but according to a casting site, will have 30 episodes. It is undebatable right now, but looking at production, it will be only 21 episodes. I just want Netflix to do something else besides 13 episodes each season, but overall the show is great. Well, what show is better? Well, I would say Girl Meets World, as I can see more episodes without waiting that long, and the show is really developing very well. I will also say, I actually like Girl Meets World better than Boy Meets World in some cases, but hey, that's my opinion. Now, back to Fuller House. It was a great show. I really enjoyed it, to sum up everything, but sometimes they do have too much nostalgia, and who knows. We'll see what the second season bring, like I said, so we'll see. Now, one thing about Girl Meets World, I don't know what's going to happen for its, after it reaches 4 seasons, if it's going to move to Netflix, or ABC, or, I don't know, I'm just starting to ramble, random networks, but, I mean, ABC Family, Freeform, or stay on Disney Channel after 4 seasons, or officially end after 4 seasons. Now, all those choices are fine with me, but I would like to see it break the season 4 rule. We'll see what happens. Some of the things I want to see for Girl Meets World Season 3, I do want to see some more characters, but I think it's time for us to see Morgan as well. Definitely Turner and Sean, definitely, and some more. Now, what do I want to see with Fuller House this coming season? Well, I want to see more with the kids. I want to see Joey and what he's up to. I love Joey and Mr. Woodchuck. I also want to see them interact more, see what their pilot, and I want to see why Stephanie can't have kids. That's a very interesting topic to cover. The next thing I want to see is basically the show try to bring back Mary-Kate and Ashley as Michelle Tanner. I would love to see her, and maybe more Nikki and Alex Kasopoulos. They were great to see. Well, let me know what you think of Fuller House, Girl Meets World. If you disagree or disagree with me in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe. Ruffman Fan 88 2 out.